Hi, I'm Kate and I'm here to talk about my final major project that is about visualizing speech. I have picked up the presentation of Chip Kidd, book designer, on TED, firstly because I'm interested in making books, and secondly because I was amazed by how artistic and interesting he is. So I started making the transcript from this presentation that might look very closely to the way he really speaks. I decided to limit myself by the most basic tools: one typeface, only black color, one size. The only variations were in the weight and the form of the typeface: bold or italic, baseline shifts, underlined words, and superscript for whisper. Gray is used for additional information such as timing or screen titles. In the beginning of my small book, you will see the full transcription of what I mean by using any of these additions. For example, I use dots to mark pauses in the text. Most of the small pauses are made by the new line. However, sometimes the pause is too big, so you just need to count the dots and understand the length of the pause. I also made an additional booklet with the slides that Chip Kidd used during this presentation. Their importance and anyway give more information than a typed description. It is separated from the book, yet it is part of it. I also decided to use my exhibition space for this project. There is a quote that is describing the whole project, what I was doing, and the QR code that will lead you to the exact presentation on TED, so you can read the booklet and listen or watch the presentation simultaneously. I also asked my peers to read several sentences from the booklet to check that my method is working.
Do you know what John Updike used to do the first thing he would get a copy of his new book from Alfred and Knopf? He would smell it. Then he would run his hand over the rag paper and the pungent ink and the deckled edges of the pages. All those years, all those books, he never got tired of it. Now, I'm all for the iPad, but trust me, smelling it will get you nowhere. Now the Apple guys are texting, develop the odor emission plugin.
So, I went to the Museum of Natural History and I checked out the bones, and I went to the gift shop and bought the book. And I was particularly taken with this page of the book, and more specifically, the lower right-hand corner.
That's a responsibility. And it's a responsibility that I don't take lightly. The book designer's responsibility is threefold: to the reader, to the publisher, and most of all, to the author. I want you to look at the author's book and say, "Wow, I need to read that."
David Sedaris is one of my favorite writers, and the title essay in this collection is about his trip to a nudist colony. And the reason he went is because he had a fear of his body image, and he wanted to explore what was underlying that. For me, it was simply an excuse to design a book that you could literally take the pants off of.
What does it look like? Yes, it can, it does, and it will. But for this book designer, page turner, dog-eared placeholder, notes at the margins taker, ink sniffer, the story looks like this.
Augustine was waylaid in the airport, and he was hiding out in the bookstore, spying on those who were buying his books. And this woman came up to it, and she squinted, and she took it to the register, and she said to the man behind the counter, "This one's ruined!" And the guy behind the counter said, "I know, lady, they all came in that way."
Even though they all have different voices, they are still making emphases at the correct places and understand the text more dynamically than it is usually shown in the books. So I think I proved the theory that typography itself may be close to the real human voice.